Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Satisfactory. Hooray! And in today's episode, we're going over building tips in update number 5. That's right. With update number 5, we have all these wonderful building materials that we can do, as well as new walls and new foundations and stuff like that. And I wanted to show you some basic ways that you could be building tremendously crazy stuff such as this. So if you do like the video and find it helpful, please give it a big old like. It does help, but not as much as leaving a comment. And of course, watch time is always key. So hopefully I can give you plenty of tips you can take a look at and build for yourself. So let's get out of here and into a nice little creative build so we can show you some of these wonderful new things. Alright, here we are in our nice little creative world. Hooray! Where I can just build whatever I want because cheats are kind of still activated on here, and we're going to need that. But first up, if you're going to actually need all the new items, they're going to actually be over here in the Awesome Shop. And you're going to actually have to go through and pay for each and every individual one. So once you pay for them, you'll realize that's only 109 tickets for all the new stuff. But wait, if you go back to one of the other ones and come back to Customizer, you realize that the roof different settings won't show up until after you've bought them all. So that's going to be an extra tickets right there. So about 120 tickets and you will have all the lovely new stuff. And as you can see right here, it looks amazing. Now, one of the first tips you can do is you can change this nice little fix-it thing to go with no filter. Then you can get every single one of them in your nice little menu so you can actually see all the different options and how they look. And this is good if you don't mind all the different stuff just kind of right there looking at you. But if this is too much, you can actually just pull your favorites so that you don't have to worry about seeing all the wonderful options and being overwhelmed. Well, now that we have everything with all the new stuff over in the Awesome Shop, it's time to start on floors. And I'm going to slow this down just a bit, just in case it looks a little bit confusing. So normally when it comes with floors, this is the normal floor we usually have. Now some people go with the nice pattern of the glass, but seeing through to the other stuff sometimes isn't a good option. Well, with the new floors, what we can do is we can actually grab a floor, hold E, and we got our nice little radial wheel, and we're going to choose a bigger one. But if we hold E again, you can look, the right mouse button is now next material. So we can actually choose different materials that we want. So we're going to use this nice lovely concrete to start with, and we're going to go all the way 10 across. Now, this is called zoopin', and zoopin' is fun. So normally when we build out, we usually have a floor that kind of looks similar like this as we're building, and then we fill it in with a bunch of different stuff. Well, with all the new materials, now we can actually go through and we can actually change up the materials that we want to use. So this is like a coated foundation one. So what I could do is I could actually make a pattern where I kind of wrap this around going on the inside of this, and then basically having almost like a dartboard kind of looking thing. But one of the other things you can do is we're going to do this. There we go. Now we have a nice little kind of checkered pattern. And basically what you want to do is you want to practice around with patterns that you think would look cool, test them out, see what you can come up with, and this will give you the best looking floors that you can possibly make. So this is the floor that I'm going to be going for, but I want to fill in those holes with another different type. So I'm going to grab the foundation again, and I'm actually going to go into the next material, which is grip metal foundation. Now this takes steel beams, but it's going to look amazing. But when you build it, you're going to notice one nice little thing. As you notice, it sticks out of the top of it because it's just slightly bigger with the frame. Well, we can use that to our advantage. If you turn the mouse wheel, you'll see that you can build at a 45-degree angle. So what you can do is you can build in here at a 45-degree angle, then hit one of the edges and rotate it back, and then you have an extra little pattern going on there. We're basically using the frame as a pattern work into their actual build. And we can do this with a lot of different stuff. But first, let us do that for the pattern over here. And there we go. My nice little floor has a nice little pattern. And of course, I can do that for the inner part over here as well. And we can see that the nice little pattern makes a nice little center focal point, and it looks really good. Now, the nice thing you can do with this is if you actually go into your architecture stuff, scroll all the way down, you can get these catwalk crossings. And you can put these in here, right like so. And what you can do is you can actually now clip to them. But you can also clip sideways. So what I can do is I can actually clip and have a nice little pattern going in there. So basically, I can make all these different stuff on the floor using everything that I need. And it's easier to have this like set to a hotbar because this is one of the most pain in the butt ways to do this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that you have your lovely floor, we're going to actually work on walls. So one of the things I like to do, and I highly, highly recommend this, is you're going to want to build a nice little outer framework on this. So as you saw in the beginning of the video, you noticed that I actually like to make a nice little extra framework so I could do this cool thing. So instead of zooping, we're going to go vertical, and now we have this nice little beam going up in the corner. So now you can do whatever you want with these beams. You can change them to however you want. You can even go into your nice little build menu, architecture, and you can change them up for actual pillar supports or whatnot. But I like to keep them solid like this because not only do they look really good, but there's some extra stuff we can do to them. But first, I want to start working on the wall. And the best way to do that is instead of building the nice little wall, so if I go into there and I go into my walls, instead of building it out here in the front or in here in the back, I want to build it somewhere in the middle. So what I do is I take my nice little catwalk and put that down. Then I'm going to grab a nice little foundation and snap to it, but I'm going to go over about one back like this, and I only need one foundation right away. Now, here's the thing. What you could do is you could also make this too long, and you could put one over here the same way. And that's going to be apparent in just a second on why I did that, as we grab a nice little wall, and we put it right up against here. Now, see how this is offset? This gives me like a half wall that'll be right into the nice little foundation over here. Whereas if I did this, I can build a wall, and then I can build another wall next to it and not clip. So it's up to you on which one you want. So if I have something even, and let's say I want a wall right in the center, because, you know, I'm OCD and whatnot, then I can do this, and I can go all the way across with my zoopin, and I can have something right there. Or if I want it even, because I want something big, like say a train coming in, and then I can do a train one instead. So basically we got this going on over here, and then we can get rid of our nice little supports, and now we basically have a wall built inside a frame. And now we need to figure out exactly how we want to set this wall up. What I like to do is I'm going to keep these basic walls right like here, and we're going to keep those on the edges. Not too bad, not too bad. Then let's get rid of, let's say, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 for symmetry, and maybe that one in the middle, right like so. And let's build these up just like this. So basically what you want to do for the walls is you want to get a nice little pattern going, a way to separate it. So I got these up like this, that's not too bad. Now I'm going to switch over into my nice little glass walls on the bottom. One of the fun new ones we got is the hex frame window. We're going to play a lot with that, and we're going to put one going here, one going there, another going here, and another going there. Now, as for the center one, what I want to do is I want to actually put the full frame window basically going up so it's nice and gone. That's going to give me a nice clear cut going all the way down. Now, let's play with doorways. One of the best doorways I like to use has always been the center door one. And we're going to stick this with concrete. And that's going to get us the center door there. Now that doesn't really match up with anything, so what we could do is we could delete this one, delete this one, and then these three on top. And then what I can do is I can select a different material. So I can select our nice little concrete, and I can make a nice little concrete slab like that. And let's say I want to, finish this off. I can actually switch these out, or I can go into the customizer and change them. But now what I did is I made this nice little concrete thing going up like that. And it looks pretty good, but we can make it even better. If we go up top, we can actually see that we have all these different things that we can choose from. So I can go like this, and I can actually cut it off. And then I can grab the one on the bottom, which is a little bit up here. And what I basically did is I basically made a nice little slice in it. And this is great too, because what you can do is you can actually make this another slice. So like, let's take this one here. And we got to grab another top one, and boom, now we have a nice little slice as well. And you can actually go one step even further. So we grab the small one, we can go like here, but I want to grab the, not this one, but the half size one on that. There we go, this one. So what we can do is we can have this one going up here like this, and then we can grab the other one going up here like this. And now we basically made some nice little glass, like basically funky stuff. And you can play with this however you want, but the best part about this is you can actually do this on these ones as well. Let's say we put the concrete going across over here, concrete going across over here. Now I can grab these, and I can actually do the same thing over here if I want. Basically, you want to play around and see which ones look best for you. Like, maybe I don't want to keep these windows 3 wide, I want to do only 2 wide. Then I can go like this. I can delete this one, and maybe I want to get the color in here again, and bring the color in there. And then we'll grab the concrete, bring the concrete across, and then does this side look better like that with the color, or does this side look better like that? I'm going to stick with this side because I prefer that. It looks really good. And then basically I'm just playing with it until I find one that I truly like. And then as you can see right here, everything is looking good. And what I can do is I can go back and let's say I want to do one here, one here. And of course we're going to do the same thing on the other side because why not? And then we got to figure out exactly where we're going to cut it. Now, because this is 9 high, we're going to have one in the middle right here. So this one in the middle is where it's going to be cut off. So if I have you right here and right here, all I would have to do is grab another one. And another one right here. Basically, I would try and match it up as best I could, and then bam, I create something really cool. And if I wanted to, I can grab the nice little ones like I did before. And grab you on the bottom. And voila, look at all the little cool things I can do. And you can play around with this as much as you want. You know, try and get the perfect look to your base. We'll see what we can come up with. And remember, every base is going to be different, so feel free to, jumble with the pattern and see what works best for you. But basically, I can have it cut off looking like this with a bunch of little diamonds. I can do something solid like that, or I could do something completely different. Give me a second, let me get the base down and figure out where I want to go from here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, after a little bit of playing around, I've got a wall that I think is fantastic. So basically what I would do is I would put this all the way around everywhere on this build and have at it. But there are some other things that I can do to this build to make it look just that much more if I really wanted to. So if we go over here into the pillars, we can grab like say a small metal pillar, frame pillar, concrete pillar, whichever one we want, and we can aim it right in the middle over here. And of course, if we zoop it, we can put it all the way up to here. This adds some extra depth into the build, which is always, always good. You always want to try and get depth into your build. It really builds out, makes everything look a lot fuller. Another thing you can do is you can actually go into all these beam stuff. So we're going to get the double beam connector. What I like to do is I like to put the beam like pretty much where the concrete is, kind of like that. And then of course we can do this one and we can end it right here at the door. These double connectors work really well, a lot better than the single connectors, I'll tell you that much. And when we go into our beam, we can connect the beam from the middle part right over here. Then when we take our actual painted beam, we can connect it from the middle part and bring it all the way over. But unfortunately, it goes a bit too far. But if we switch it to the diagonal build mode, we can actually get it to a more precise one. Now this is way better than the freeform one because it actually still keeps our angles going. So it tries to keep it as straight as possible. And then basically what you have now is you have these extra little lines that you can add into there. So in case you wanted to do anything around the build, you can actually do it. And the best part is, like, let's say you want a nice diagonal one going all the way across because you want to add some flair to this part right here. What you can do is you can grab the beam and then go to the other one, and voila, you have a nice straight line going through. Now if you want and say you don't like those, you can get rid of them, and then you can actually go and switch over to the single one. And depending on how you want it, whether you want it straight or you want it curved, you can actually go for it. I recommend the straight one because it looks a lot better going over there like that. And you just basically play with this and see which kind of set you really want. I mean, that's the best way to do this stuff, is always to just, you know, go for it and see what it comes up with. Like even on this stuff. So I got that open because of the door. Then I can grab my nice little beam and have that go straight across for the top. Or even if I wanted to, I can still cut it if I wanted to. It all depends on how you want your build to look. So, how's that for a nice little entryway? Doesn't that look fantastic? But it is kind of a little dark, and we would love some lights to go in. That's where these things come into play. See, what you want to do is you want to figure out where exactly do you want your light to be. Do you want your light to be all the way up here? Do you want it to be in the middle? It depends. Maybe you want to be at the bottom. What you can do, let's see, we'll say we'll go down 4. So we have 3 up here, and then we took away the 4th one. Now, if you go into your organization, you can get a street light. And what you want to do is you want to have the arrow pointing forward, and you want to get it right there in the middle. So now what you have it going through is you have it popping out right there. Now, I think we can have this maybe going one more up. That would be great. So what I want to do is I'll just build it up, get rid of this one, and we'll try again. Streetlights really depend on where you want them, but they're really good and they stick out quite nicely, and they're not too invasive. Now the reason why I like using this pillar for the streetlight is, even though it sticks out a little too far, if we go on the other side, let's get rid of this glass, it perfectly sits out right here for when we put our nice little power. So what we can do is we can grab the power, we can bring you all the way down here, however we want, maybe into there, and then I'll bring my power together. And bada bing, bada boom, look at that. Now I have a nice bright light on the front of it, and it gives me this nice little shadow part, which looks really cool. Now you could have this closer in, but unfortunately that would have this stick out even more. As you can see right here, it's a little finicky right there. But let's try doing this on the other side, and I'll show you what it looks like if you were to go as far back as you possibly could. So let's say you wanted to build like right here, or let's say you want to build right here. And we'll put this away. Now we have this nice little light pole sticking like this, and we have you, I mean, not much of a difference when you really think about it. Just a nice little inner part like that? Nah, I think we're better off with that one, because then we hide more of this on the back end. So we'll get rid of that, and we'll put another light back in here. So now that we got this built out, what else can we do to this build? Well, I'm glad you asked. If we go back into our nice little foundation, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the ramps. Unfortunately, they don't get any special treatment, the quarter pipes. So if we went in and we built these nice little quarter pipes right here, what we can do then is go back to architecture, scroll all the way down, and get a big pillar support, and put that little guy right there. Then what I can do is I can go and pick a nice little one, maybe regular concrete, have you come, we'll say right there, and then build a piece on the top. This adds another little structural support and looks so good. And with the soft clipping, it's easier than ever, especially because these pillar supports kind of just go, they can go halfway, they can go on the wall if you want them to. Not really bad. Especially, like, let's say you wanted this, like, in the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's halfway right here. I can even put this going all the way across if I wanted to for some extra support. But we'll grab you over here. Yeah. Now, you can also do something with the small support as well. So if you don't want that too big, you can actually go for the small support. And we'll grab the nice metal beams. Going up here. And we can have a nice little small support there as well. So it depends on how big you want. You want the nice big one, you want the nice small one. Whichever one looks good for the base that you're building. I like the big one on this one. Kind of makes it look a little bit grander. So as you can see, we have a nice, well-built inner factory with this nice little wall. And I even added in these nice metal pillars over here. And I'll show you real quick how I did that. Just in case you're curious, you just aim it at the floor and try and get as close to it as possible. And then, of course, we can just zoop it up. There we go. And it's pretty much similar to the small metal pillars. There's just a big one in the corner, just so we kind of get this nice three-tiered effect. But if we also go outside, you can see that it actually doesn't show up on the outside. So it's just for the inner part of this. Well, now that we got walls, we know how to do really cool floors. Now we want to do a roof. So the best way I like to do this is I like to start off with a nice little framework going all the way around. So basically, I'm just going to extend my framework all around, and then I'm going to choose how I want to do a nice little roof. So when it comes to roofs, there's a couple different designs we can go for. We can go into our nice little roofing thing, and we can do basically a solid flat roof all the way across. So something like that, and basically have all the stuff coming in through there, which is not a bad option indeed. Another option with the roof is, if we go into our nice little foundations, we can build the ramps basically going up in the corner, all the way to the top like so. And then, of course, having you coming over here. Then what we can do is we can go back into our nice little roofs, and we can grab these, and we can basically do a nice little 4-meter one. And we can have a roof that's basically at a nice diagonal angle. Another tip for a roof is if you want to go for, like, say, a 2-meter one, have that coming over, and that coming over. What you can do is you can actually go back into your walls, grab a nice little wall right here, and fill up that nice little hole space right there with a wall. So now you have a nice little multi-tiered roof. Another thing is you can play with the walls as well. So if we go into the customizer, and we can basically change whatever material you want. So we could change, like, say, the middle one to a tar roof and leave the 2 glass ones. And then just kind of mess with it on which one we want going all the way forward. Now, you don't need to go all the way up here. So what you could do is, let's say you wanted to go a little bit of ways. So, like, let's say right here. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. 3 over. Let's say right here, I don't want this to go all the way up. I want it to go flat now all the way across. So once I build up my walls like I did on the other one, I can now go back in, grab a nice flat wall, and build you across here. Now this works really great if you want to put something in the center, like let's say you don't want glass in the center, you want something else. We can even do like, let's say this one right here. For a little bit of color going into the center. Walls are fun to play with. You can actually choose whatever kind of variety you want going for them and just kind of mess with them and see what you come up with. Especially having the nice little walls there, that really does help as well, because then you can kind of like pick what you kind of want and see what looks good. I recommend just trying out like different approaches to them and everything and seeing what looks good for the overall building. As you can see, I finished out this edge right here. Now what I could do is I could take the wall and put the wall in that space right there, or I could just leave it open if I wanted to. It's one of those kind of things, like choose exactly what works best for the building that you're making. Depending on size and shape, you could go pretty much anywhere. Let me build out a nice little roof and see what I come up with. Look at that, look at that. I like it. This roof was a really good idea. But now we're going to come into our final tip for building a building, and that is the finishing touches kind of stuff. So as you can see right here, this looks good, but there's some extra stuff that we can do to it. Like, see how this is on top of here? Well, first of all, I need to get this. Whoopsie. Sometimes it's good to take an extra look at things. But what you want to do is you want to go in and figure out extra stuff that you can do to it that you know you needed to, that you didn't have time to do before, or you wouldn't normally see. Such as being able to just put that on the edge like so is a little bit better than just leaving it blank like that. Or if you wanted to, you can also take something like this and you can put it on the edge. But we can do the upside down one and have it going right here. So something like that on the edge is also an option that we can do, and then we can put something on top if we wanted to. Another thing is like, say, this one right here with the metal pillars. We had this in before. We had it pretty much to the line. So normally you probably want to put it in the center, but we're a little bit over. Ah, there we go. The zooping really helps get everything in the right spot. Then you can see it's all pretty much right going there. Now what I can do is I can bring the wall up if I wanted to. So easiest way to do that would be like delete this. Then I can get the wall and have the wall going up here. Delete this and put this back. Now I can start building an actual wall in this top part. So I can figure out exactly what I wanted to. So if I wanted to, I could put glass in. Would probably be the way. But then you got to worry about stuff like this, especially if you're putting like diagonals and stuff like that. You got to figure out exactly how you want it. So like I would actually have to go in, and then I would probably have to go into, say, these type of walls with the ramp walls and everything like that. Then you can have those go in there, and then for a little bit added flair, like everything else, I can go and do this, and now it's like flush with it. Now it actually goes and fixes in. So I'm going to finish all the extra little things around there, and we'll see how this looks at the end. And there we go. The finished product. Well, at least the finished product of the outside area. Come on. And as you can see, this is what it looks like inside, with plenty of room to go however we want. So whatever you decide on doing for the inside, you have more than enough room to do in here. One of the things I like to do is if we go and take the floors and we turn these to a 2-meter one, we can actually go 1, 2.5. So right here. And this right here is a good size. So this gives us 2.5 foundations worth of space, which if we go into our nice little production stuff, pretty much fits everything just fine. We have plenty of room for the constructor, assembler, even going all the way up to that nice green light we're fine on. The manufacturer, that's when things get tricky, and we might have to go a little bit bigger on that, a 4 one. And then if we turn into the nice little refinery, we realize that we could use this whole space and still need more room. But this one works really well for a lot of like small builds and stuff like that. So if I was turning this into like a production thing, I could do plenty of stuff on this first floor, and basically all I would have to do is make the floor the same way that I was making everything else. So basically I could redo the same pattern that I was doing down here onto here, and then I would have a nice ceiling pattern. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. I just wanted to go over the floor, walls, and ceiling/roof to give you an idea of how you can make your buildings look very nice and pretty. Next thing I'll be going for is how to build the stuff inside, including how to go through like constructors, assemblers, stuff like that, do stuff with belts and all that good stuff. So feel free to subscribe and you can see all that lovely stuff in the future. But until then, don't forget to like the video. You can write down a comment in the bottom if you need to. Let me know what's going on. I'm always happy to see you guys. And that's going to be it. Anyway, you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Wait, we gotta wave again. Bye.